Hello, my Demon Insiders, and welcome back to the Demon Inside. I'm your host, John Venom, and today I am going to be doing an information type podcast. I've had a lot of people ask me questions, a lot of people that have criticized me, and a lot of people that have actually thanked me for doing this podcast. Now, just FYI, for those of you that have gotten past the demon in the name, thank you. Because most people see the demon and they don't want to listen to this because they think it's me chanting for half an hour to an hour to call a demon. I mean, that's ridiculous. I'm not a Satanist. I am not a believer in anything of the occult. But I do believe in certain things, and I'm going to explain this. I was raised a Catholic, hardcore devoted Catholic for that. And of course, like every teenager, I rebelled. And it wasn't until my late 40s that I started realizing there was something more to this life than just me. I am not a practicing Catholic, but I am a spiritual person. And I do believe in demons and I do believe in ghosts. Now, with that being said, I was also a United States Air Force security police officer. And I've studied forensic psychology and I've studied forensics in general. I've worked investigations, cold case files, missing persons, things of that nature for over 26 years. I'm not saying that I am by far an expert in anything, and I'm not saying that this podcast is the truth, but for me, in my eyes, being Catholic and being a ex-law enforcement agent or person, this is my truth. This is what I see. Now with that, I'm going to talk to you about how and why I do this podcast. So a few years back, I started to see different ways of looking at a crime. That was the premise for me to start this podcast. And because after a while looking at or listening to podcasts and TV shows about true crime, it just kind of becomes redundant. I mean, everything's the same. You could take Ted Bundy, you can take John Wayne Gacy, Jack the Ripper, everything that can be said has already been said. And we're just kind of, or at least I'm just kind of tired of listening to the same thing over and over again in a different way. So what I did as far as being a law enforcement agent is I was looking at the crime itself. I never look at the aftermath. I never take anybody's what they think happened. I never take anybody's philosophy of what or why they did it. I don't listen too much to the interviews that they give, and I'm talking about the police interrogations. I don't listen to those, and I don't use those too much after a month that the person has been behind bars. Now, let me explain this. When the crime is committed, I take what people said that person was doing a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month before the crime actually happened. Because those are people that are telling the truth. As far as remembering who that person was at the time. Now, I don't take statements from people that say they knew the person and after the crime has been committed, let's say months later or years later, these people have had time to listen to what the police think, what the media thinks, And then their mind changes to what they think the media and the police are investigating, and they think of it as the truth. So I don't take that. What I do take is this. I take it from the word of the people in the episodes that I do. Sometimes during the interrogation after the crime has been committed, that same day. Now remember, the police can't make sense of many of these crimes. So what they do is they try to change it to fit a script that will be easier to charge them with and to prosecute them with for this crime. A lot of times, these police officers, and they're doing their job, don't get me wrong, there's nothing against police, but it's hard for them to see a spiritual side of this. What they see is either somebody that is mentally ill, or that they were so poor they couldn't afford their kids and they decided to kill them, or even that the husband was embarrassed by something in his life and he chose to kill his family because it would be better for them to die than to have to face the truth. Now, also in this aspect, there are a lot of crimes that are committed on this episode with people that do have mental disabilities, like schizophrenia or bipolar, or, any of these different types of mental disabilities. But I believe this is that evil or demons, if you don't like that term demons, they use this to their advantage because it's easier to manipulate somebody that isn't in their right frame of mind. Now, I'm not saying all these people are in some way insane or mentally ill. And I'm not giving an excuse for the people that have killed. I believe that when you kill somebody, as a person in this world, we are responsible for what we do. I'm not saying that they had a choice in the matter, and I'm not saying that they were able to fight what was happening to them. I believe that whatever this thing was, or this thing is, and I'm talking about many of these things, not just one, that these things use us to manipulate or to change our minds or to influence us in a way that they can take control of an aspect of our life or a part of our body or a part of our mind to do the harm that it wants us to do. And I know it's kind of hard to accept this, but in this next season, season 3, I'm going to be talking about somebody that was possessed, and that's going to be the first episode. And in the next episode, which will be episode 3, I'm going to be talking about somebody that actually felt that he didn't know what was happening. As far as he couldn't see it, he couldn't feel it, he couldn't do anything about it. He didn't even know about it until the police arrested him. But that's going to be on the third episode. But for now, let me explain. So like I was saying, I start my show with a premise that there's a pattern to these crimes. Much like a serial killer with a signature, I believe there's a demon with a signature. And I believe this, that these demons take control of us and they do the harm that they do and they leave their host. Now, I'm not saying all these people are possessed. By all means, they're not. I've done this show for 3 seasons, or this is my 3rd season. I've done over 90 shows, almost 100. And out of this 100, there's only a handful of possessed people. And I'm not saying that the other people that killed that were not possessed had any control over what they were able to do. That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is this. There are 4 degrees to a demon possession. And sometimes they don't even have to possess you fully. Now, I'm going to explain these degrees, and the first one is infestation. An infestation is basically when you hear a demon talking in your ear, telling you to kill somebody because it's going to save the world, or it's going to save your family, or the noise in your head of them talking gets so loud that you feel like you have to do this. Now, here's the thing that I explained on one of my episodes. There was a killer that said that he heard these voices in his head so loud until he killed, and then it lowered the voices. Actually, the voices went away for a while. This person also, when he was hearing the voices, left the city, drove to another state, and he said he never heard the voices until the voices caught up with him months later. That's not schizophrenia. Schizophrenia goes with you no matter where you're at. That's not bipolar. Bipolar is with you no matter where you're at. This guy actually drove away to another state and was fine for a few months until the voices caught up with him. Now, the next one is oppression. Is you're feeling that you have no luck, everybody is against you, your bills are piling up, you can't find a spouse like a boyfriend or a girlfriend, or you do have a family and you can't get ahead. And all these things, they start weighing on you to the point where you think you can't get out of it unless you take your own life, or you take your family's life and your own life. Now, the next one is obsession. And there's some people that believe that obsession has nothing to do with a demon, but I do. And what I believe is this. I've done a case where a guy in Florida, he was so obsessed with the singer Bjork that when he found out that she had a boyfriend, he wanted to kill her. So he made a bomb to send it to her. Now, she was safe, of course, but he ended up killing himself. There was also another woman who traveled from New Mexico to Arizona to meet a man that she had gone out with one time. And the guy says they never really hit it off. They only went out one time, and that was months before, if not a year. And he didn't know that she was still wanting to be with him. So much so that she had put down in a text to him that she wanted to be so close to him that she wanted to wear his skin. Now, this is obsession. And I do believe that this is a demonic presence. Now, for those 3, those are a demonic presence and not a demonic possession. But it gets to the point where sometimes you might lose your mentality for a moment for this thing to get in maybe not have full access to you, but is able to commit the crime in which these people are being convicted of. And then it gets back out. Now, the fourth one is possession. Possession is not what people think. And I'm going to explain this because in movies, possession is spinning your head in circles or raising up from your bed or walking up the walls. And don't get me wrong, there are cases that I've heard of that this has happened. And I'll probably play you those cases later on, even though nobody was killed in those. And here's the other thing about my podcast. Not all of my episodes are about people that killed. The people that they tried to kill actually survived. There was a lady that was trying to stab her son. Actually, she did stab her son, but I believe that the son said, "Mommy, what are you doing? I love you." And it snapped her out of it right away. This is why I'm talking about that it's not a full possession, even though she was doing something to her child that I believe the demon had an effect on. But because she was still in her sane mind and not fully possessed, she snapped out of it and stopped and called an ambulance and saved his life. Possession for me is the Anna St. Joseph case, Austin Haroff case, Rudy Eugene case, Colin Sheck case, and above all those, Matthew Bernard, I believe, was possessed by 2 demons. And those I played on season 1 and season 2. I actually got a message from Matthew Bernard's uncle, who said that out of all the police, news, and everything else, podcasts, shows, whatever, he believes that I was the closest one to giving them an answer that he believed I was right. He says that whatever was sitting in the back seat of that patrol car was not his nephew. And I believe him. Because Matthew Bernard was an innocent young man, and he was possessed by 2 demons. Now, for me, these shows are a way of bringing out the evil or a demon into the light of day. The best that anybody can do is to show these things in the light, because they hide in the darkness. And on some of these episodes, I actually name the demon, if I can find the name, because that is very, very difficult. So, with that being said, I was talking about patterns, and I'm going to explain that. When I find a pattern, for instance, and I use the face biters, which again is Rudy Eugene, Austin Haroff, Anna St. Joseph, and Colin Sheck, because these are unique crimes that people would never try to duplicate because there's no point. What these guys did was get naked, traveled distances, had superhuman strength, and were biting the faces off of people. I believe these guys were fully possessed. And none of them had bath salts, because I do my toxicology reports after the crime. None of these guys were on any type of drugs. None of these guys were drunk. None of these guys had mental illnesses. These were men in their mid-20s to early 30s. Physically fit, mentally healthy, all either college or college graduates. They had their own businesses, they had their own goals, and they were all reading the Bible at the time of these incidents. These are the crimes that I followed first because for me, the demon jumped from one to the other to the other. And if you don't believe that, listen to my podcast from season 1 and the last part of season 2, and it'll explain, because on the end of season 2, following this pattern in Florida, I actually found a family annihilator. This demon jumped into a person and killed his family, then into another and another and another and another. And then later, this face biter demon was following him up the coast of Florida. Like I said, it's explained on season 2. This is what I mean by a pattern. And these are the patterns that I'm following. And it's more than one demon. These are many, many demons. Now, before you start getting scared, I just want you to know that the odds of meeting a demon are astronomical. You would probably meet a serial killer first before you would meet a demon. People get scared because they think that if they hear a demon's name, the demon's going to come to them. It's not true. For me doing this show, I've learned that if you're a demon worshiper, which none of these people are, again, I emphasize, none of these people that I do episodes on are demon worshipers, with the exception of Adolfo de Jesus Costanza. If you're going to worship a demon, and if you're going to want a demon to possess you, why would a demon do it? There's no fun in it for him. There's no challenge for him. They don't want to be a person. They want to possess a person that is closer to God, closer to his family, a good person by nature, not an evil person by nature that wants him. So, like I said, when I first started this show, I wanted a different way to see the crimes. And I have. Now, it's up to you if you want to believe it or not. All I say is that you listen to my podcast with an open mind. Again, I'm not going to preach. I have nothing against any of the religions, because a lot of these demons come from different religions. They don't care who you are. They don't care how much money you have. They don't care if you're a man or a woman or a child. All these demons want to do is destroy humanity. They don't care about us. With that being said, I just want to tell you this. I feel very sad for the victims, which I will not name on my show because I don't want them to be associated with their killers like some of these other shows. If I do say a name of a victim, it's only because I have to for the case. Second, I feel bad for the families of these people that I do episodes on, because these families feel like they did the best they could, and yet their child, their brother, their sister, their nephew, their niece, their uncle, whatever, still committed this crime and they never saw it coming. And it's not your fault and it's not their fault. And most of all, I feel bad for the victims and their families that have to go through this. They have no reason to go through this except for the fact that either this person or this demon did this. Now, I might be wrong on some of these shows, maybe saying that there's a demon, but again, the person committed the crime, so the person must do the time. That's the way our society is. And that's the way we need to be a society. Just because I say that it could have been a demon doesn't give them the right to use that as an excuse. And I've found some people that have tried to use that as an excuse, and I read right through that. I know the fakers that use religion or demons or God or whatever because they're full of shit. I hope that you guys, whether you're new or old, look into my podcast. Listen, take it for what it is. I'm not trying to change anybody's mind. I'm not trying to change religions. I'm not trying to anything other than what I see in my opinions. That's it. All of this is an old investigator who was raised with the philosophy of demons. And being an investigator, I do my due diligence to find the truth. I look at case files from the incident. I do toxicology reports. I try to find as many current things to the crime as possible. I don't take all my information from news media, news feeds, or even just the police talking about what they think it is. I try to find from the beginning the demon inside until I can no longer go with my investigation. That's what I do. And as far as the patterns go, a pattern to me doesn't mean one or two things. For instance, if it's a knife or if it's scissors that somebody is killing with, and there's many people that have killed with scissors, but if it doesn't fit my pattern, with my patterns, there has to be 3, 4, 5 coincidences, which as a police officer, I hate to say coincidences. So we'll call it a spiritual signature. There has to be more than 2 for it to be a pattern. I don't make things fit just to fit for this podcast. And I'll explain that because there was a woman when I was following the Family Annihilators in Florida. She was also in Florida and killed her entire family and herself. But she stabbed them as opposed to shooting them, like my Family Annihilator. He shot everybody. Then she was drunk, which I don't do shows on people that are intoxicated or under the influence. And 3, it was a woman and not a man. So none of those fit the pattern that I was looking for, other than the fact that she killed her family, killed herself, and it was in Florida. Now, I'm not saying that a demon won't jump from a man to a woman, because I have a pattern of that. But in this case, that wasn't the issue. So now that I've fed so much information to you guys, and I apologize, I just feel like I needed to cover everything. But if I didn't and you still have questions, send me a message through the Demon Inside Podcast at gmail.com. You have to put in the. So it's the Demon Inside Podcast at gmail.com. And send me questions if you have any. And also, if you have stories about anything supernatural or any true crime that you know about, I would really like to hear from you. And if you leave your name, I'll send you out a shout out for sure. I'll maybe even read or do an episode on somebody that you send me. Now, if you are trying to find me or trying to find my shows, I am on YouTube. I am on Spotify. I'm pretty much on every platform possible that I've tried to get onto. And I also have a website with all of that and my social media stuff. It's called the Demon Inside Podcast .transistor.fm. F as in forever and M as in Mary. And before I sign out of all this, let me go ahead and send some shout outs. And I have a few, so bear with me. First one is going to my true demon insiders, which is, of course, Aaron. And Aaron, you and your family have been awesome. The next one is JR and Tiffany, who are going to get married hopefully this year. I have Shannon and her friends at the Mayo Clinic. And the friends at the Mayo Clinic, if you guys want me to use your name, send me out a shout out. You know how to do it. Shannon did it. Also, one of my good friends, Margie, and her sister, Julie. I have my cousin, Madi, who's probably the only family member that listens to this. So thank you, Madi. My other friends she's a cop from Austin. Her name is Katarina, or as I like to call her, Cat, because she's a cat woman. She's awesome. The next ones that I like to thank are the people from my workplace. Dan is like family to me, and him, Rebecca, Emma, and their new baby. I just want to say thank you guys for being there for me. Then I also want to thank Paul, who is a Mazda manager. And of course, I can't forget Rob and his daughter. And I always forget to say her name. That's why I had to play it on one of the episodes when she said it. Actually, I didn't forget. It's just a hard name to say for me. I have no idea why. And I hope that I got everybody, with the exception of Rebecca at Circle K. I just want to thank you guys for always listening in and supporting my show, as well as all of those that I don't know by name. I know you guys by comments that you've made, but I really would like to get to know you guys. And also, for all those that are new to this program, I thank you for coming in and at least taking a chance to listen to my podcast. It means so much to me, and I'm not just saying that, but I am just saying this. Always put 5 stars and always hit like for my stuff, because that really does help me, and eventually I might actually make some money from this damn thing. I also, on my website, have merchandise. If you guys would like to go there, it's under TeePublic, and I have it on my website. you can click on that and go to TeePublic, where I have my t-shirts that I've actually made myself. Some for the show and some not. Some I was just having fun with. So that would be a great support for me as well. And just FYI, guys, I do this free of charge, and I do this show on my own. I know at the end of every broadcast I have a list of people, but in reality, John Venom and James Porter is the same guy, and that's me. And I do this show all alone in my car while I'm at work, and sometimes you'll hear the construction behind me, or sometimes you'll hear me sniffing because of the damn allergies because of these people out here doing road construction. I'm not in a booth somewhere. I don't have a production company. Everything that I do is me doing it for you and doing it because I believe in this. So thank you guys for listening, and I hope that you're gonna like this season. I really worked hard on it, and like I said, for those of you that are new, listen to my next podcast, which is season 3, episode 1, and you're gonna see what I'm talking about as far as a possession. And for those of you that are my Demon Insiders that have been here from the beginning, you're not gonna want to miss this, guys. This guy fights the possession. It is an amazing episode. So I'll see y'all next time. Take care, and thanks for listening.